Hebrews, Hebrews, Hebrews. This is Prophets of Awakening. This is our evening Shabbat class, 27th of April, 2024. I'll be reading out of book of First Ezra. So that's what my topic will be tonight. We're going into, you can go into our YouTube channel to Prophets of Awakening and check out our videos. We have over 900 or so videos. And these videos will connect dots for you and lead you into the truth of the Holy Scriptures. If you like what you're hearing and receiving, I'm asking you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. It would be greatly appreciated. We also have a cash app at the bottom of the screen. If you feel need to support the channel, that'll be appreciated also. Okay, we have different times during the week that we're on Prophets of Awakening, and they are Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 7 to 9. We on our Prophets of Awakening channel. It's from 7 to 9 p.m. And then we come back on Friday nights on Clubhouse from 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time for our Men's Advanced Bible Study. And the title of the room is Non-Messianic Conversations on Clubhouse. And then we have two Shabbat classes every Saturday, one in the mornings at 10 a.m. to 12 a.m. Then we come back and close out the Shabbat, which is where we at right now from 6 to 7 p.m. Central Time, about evening Shabbat class. Okay, so with that being said, for those that don't know, this is a non-Messianic conversation channel, and we deal with the Tanakh, so-called Book of Remembrance, and the Torah, which is the first 5 books of the Old Testament that was given to Moses by our Redeemer, the Lord of Hosts. And it consists of our laws, our culture, our way of life, things that we do as Israelites, as the original Israelites. Okay, shalom and welcome to this channel, and welcome to our evening Shabbat class. We're going to do our normal, which is a moment of silence, evening Shabbat prayer. We'll read the Psalms. Then we'll deal with some current events and some need-to-know information. And then we go into we open it up for some Q&A and a little dialogue. Then we go into reading out of First Ezra and First Ezra chapter 5 and chapter 6. Okay. So this moment of silence is for the Lord of Hosts and all that He's doing to bring about prophesied deliverance in these last days. O Lord, righteousness and uprightness belongeth unto Thee. Therefore, we come before Thee at this hour, seeking Thy face, looking for righteousness and uprightness, that we may walk before Thee as Thy servants David and Solomon, Samuel and Hezekiah did, that we may walk before Thee in truth and in righteousness and in rightness of heart. Give unto us, O Lord, an understanding heart, that we may discern between good and bad. For You possess the power to turn us, O Lord, for we desire to walk after Thee, O Lord, and to keep Your commandments and Your testimony and Your statutes with all our heart and soul, to perform the words of the covenant that was written down by Your prophets. O Lord, allow Thy face to shine upon Thy people, and hear our plea, and hear and do, O Lord, and hide not Thy face from us, for we need You so very much at this hour. Peace be unto You. Okay. So with that being said, we'll read a song. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna read Psalms 91. It's God is a refuge and a fortress. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God, in Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with His feathers, and under His wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and thy buckler. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrows that fly by day, nor for the pestilence that walketh in the darkness, or nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday. 1,000 shall fall at thy right side, 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh unto thee. Only with thine eyes shalt thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. Okay? Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plagues come nigh thy dwelling. For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy feet against the stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and adder, the young lion and the dragon shall thou trample under feet. Because he hath set his love upon me, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because he hath known my name. He shall call upon me, and I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble. I will deliver him and honor him. With long life will I satisfy him and show him my salvation. So we see right here, if you want to be in David's position and be protected from all trouble. We see right here, he says that in verse 11, for he will give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. So what angels? These 6 angels. Say, they shall bear thee up on their hand, in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against the stone. Thou shalt tread upon the lion and the adder, the young lion and the dragon shall thou trample underfoot. And in 14 is the answer. Because he hath set his love upon thee, therefore will I deliver him. I will set him on high, because ye have known my name. That's how important, knowing who the name is and who you're dealing with. And then it says, he shall call upon me. You got to know who it is to call upon. And I will answer him. I will be with him in trouble, and I will deliver him and honor him. Okay? If there's any comments on that? Okay. Go to some current events. Okay.
Guys, Mother's Day is coming. Do your mom a favor this year by getting her a unique gift that she'll treasure forever. It is no longer news that the newly elected president of Senegal wants the best for his country. Senegal has declared that mining and oil contracts will be renegotiated for the benefit of the local populace. Industry participants and experts have expressed concern and attention to this approach. Although the goal of the renegotiation is to give the local community's well-being a top priority, there are worries about the possible hazards this could bring to future collaborations and investments. So, in today's video, we shall examine the implications and viewpoints about Senegal's renegotiation of mining and oil contracts. Before we continue, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the new Tourist channel to get all updates on Bassirou Diomaye Faye. Also, let us know in the comments what you want Senegal's new president to do concerning these negotiations. Early this month, Senegal's newly appointed Minister of Mines and Energy declared that the government would renegotiate mining, oil, and gas contracts should a promised audit be completed. President Bassirou Diomaye Faye, who defeated the ruling coalition candidate in a landslide election victory last month, announced the audit after his inauguration on April 2, assuring investors they were still welcome in the West African country. The renegotiation of such contracts with foreign businesses in Senegal is one of the more extreme campaign promises that Faye's new coalition administration is prepared to follow through on. The strategy is in contrast to Macky Sall, Faye's predecessor, who had a more investor-friendly stance, but was unable to reduce Senegal's rising cost of living or generate enough jobs through his ambitious infrastructure-focused plan. Politicians and business analysts have advised Senegal's new president against renegotiating mining and oil contracts. Speaking through his Energy and Mines Minister Boram Souleye Diapon on April 11, Faye stated that following the completion of the anticipated audit, the government would renegotiate contracts related to mining, oil, and gas if needed. The concern stems from the potential impact on investment and future partnerships. Some experts argue that the renegotiation could deter investors due to uncertainties and potential changes in the terms of the contracts. This could have implications for developing the oil and mining sectors in Senegal. Bear in mind that on the campaign road, Faye, the youngest democratically elected president of Africa, pledged to give priority to renegotiating contracts related to oil and gas. He emphasized that the contracts the people in power had signed were very unfavorable to Senegal. However, Woodside Energy, an Australian company that works with Petrosen in the Sangomar oil field in central western Senegal, has pleaded with the government to respect contract sanctity. Note that Australia's Woodside Energy opens a new tab that holds 82% of Senegal's offshore Sangomar oil and gas field, which is expected to start oil production in mid-2024. Senegal's former president, Macky Sall, told a news agency that this decision to renegotiate mining contracts could come with consequences. Frankly, thinking that we can change the contracts already signed with the companies is not possible. That would be a disastrous turn for Senegal, Sall said. The Senegalese state will get up to 60% of future oil and gas profits, according to papers from the previous administration and the Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative. According to Ibrahim Abakar Dram, a former Petrosen communications manager.
So what we're listening to is another young lion over in the Negro land rising up. Okay, seem to be a day-to-day thing now.
Explicit renegotiation clauses do not exist in oil contracts, but rather clauses that regulate potential disputes. Dram suggests that oil contracts might not explicitly mention the ability to renegotiate the terms in the future. This doesn't necessarily mean renegotiation is impossible, but it's not explicitly laid out as an option from the beginning. Instead of explicit renegotiation clauses, Dram suggests these contracts likely have clauses that focus on resolving potential disputes that may arise during the contract period. To bolster its institutional capabilities, to better negotiate intricate agreements within the extractive industries. For instance, the World Bank has offered technical support to make sure that initiatives for the development of oil and gas are in line with public interests and draw funding from the private sector.
Okay, we got another one right here.
U.S. Bank has just collapsed. And I'm giving you this warning today because I want you to protect your money. Make sure your money is there in the next week. Make sure it's there in the next month. And for sure, within the next year. Because now we're getting experts telling us that things are going to get much worse between the next 6 to 12 months. So I'm going to break down what's going on, which bank just collapsed. Just a heads up, it's a regional bank. The majority of you probably have no money in this bank, but the concern is that this is the first bank to fall in 2024. So I'm going to break this down because this is likely going to spread. Now, all I ask is one thing. It takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoy these daily updates. And now, let's begin. So what is the bank that just collapsed? Well, we're going to talk about this. We're going to go over this article right here from AP News. It says regulators close Philadelphia-based Republic First Bank. First U.S. bank failure this year. That is the key. It's the first U.S. bank failure this year. Even in a strong economy, banks normally fail at a rate about 1 to 5 per year. Okay, this is the first one. But experts are predicting that as soon as we see this banking crisis unravel, banks are going to start dropping, and this is going to be potentially 1 bank per month. That means 12 banks, not branches, total banks are going to close in 2024. Now, going to read a little bit from this article, but then I want to explain why this is such a big issue. But again, keep in mind, we've been hearing reports of banks in other countries here in the United States as well. They're refusing to give us our money. And experts are predicting that this is a sign of what's to come. Banks don't want to give us our money because they don't have the money. They are wanting to hold on to as much cash as possible. Just look at this.
I understand what are you talking about.
You probably remember this from last week.
Why? No, I'd like to. It's for if the car's payments for in cash. I can't use a bank draft.
This teller doesn't want to give him his money.
Yeah, it's private. It's literally from my friend. Yeah, but he wants it in cash.
She doesn't want to give cash.
No, I don't. You don't need that. What is it? I'm only asking for 3.
She doesn't want to give cash. She's trying to ask him for like an invoice or something of what he's purchasing. This is from the Royal Bank in Canada. Just to give you an idea, this is not just happening in Canada, it's happening all over the United States. Let's get back to this article. Okay, look at this. It says regulators have closed Republic First Bank, a regional lender operating in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York. Again, the majority of you do not have a single dollar in this bank, but this is why it's such a big deal. It says the Federal Deposit Insurance Corp, this is FDIC, said Friday it had seized the Philadelphia-based bank, which did business as Republic Bank and had roughly $6 billion in assets and $4 billion in deposits as of January 31st. Fulton Bank, which is based in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, agreed to assume substantially all of the failed bank's deposits and buy essentially all of its assets, the agency said. Republic Bank's 32 branches will reopen as branches of Fulton Bank as early as Saturday, which is today. It says the bank's failure is expected to cost the Deposit Insurance Fund, this is the FDIC, $667 million. $667 million. That's pretty substantial. Okay? Now, I want to get into a few things, okay? And first, let me read this, but now I'm going to get into a few things. It says, in a strong economy, an average of only 4 to 5 banks close each year. So I was a little bit wrong. I said 1 to 5. It's 4 to 5. But this is the big deal right here. It says, rising interest rates and falling commercial real estate values, especially for office buildings, grappling with surging vacancy rates following the pandemic, have heightened the financial risk for many regional and community banks. Outstanding loans backed by properties that have lost value make them a challenge to refinance. Now, I want to address this. Okay, this is the biggest issue, and here's the reason why. Okay, U.S. banks have seen the largest amount of outflows since September of 2001. September of 2001. I don't think I need to remind everybody what happened in September of 2001, specifically September 11th. Okay, you know what happened. That is unprecedented that we saw that, and now we're seeing the largest amount of outflows since then. That's troubling. Let me read this to you. Just so you know how bad things have gotten, okay? Most banks are reeling from the effects of the commercial mortgage industry. They're reeling because of the higher interest rates, because of just those things in general. But banks at the end of 2023 were holding more than $400 billion in unrealized losses. $400 billion. This is not something that the U.S. government's going to just come back from. $400 billion in unrealized losses. That's a massive amount of money. But listening to executives and especially in the banking industry, here's the reason they are in trouble. Because the Fed promised they were going to cut rates multiple times this calendar year in 2024. However, the Fed has not done that. The Federal Reserve will likely not do that. There's reports that the Fed will potentially come out in November, December, and cut rates. But if they cut rates, inflation is going to go up. Instead, what the Fed should do is raise rates to push inflation down. But if they raise rates, there will be a banking collapse. The housing market is going to struggle, right? Millions of people are going to simply panic. They'll be out of work. Businesses are not going to be hiring. it's going to be just a big mess, a disaster.
Okay.
If you're ignoring,
Got any comments on that? Anybody witnessing any trouble at the bank? Okay. Got some need to know information right here.
This video was made possible by Mzizi International, the official African diaspora clothing brand. Visit mzizishop.com for more information. Ghana's electricity generation relies on a mix of sources, including natural gas, hydropower, and renewable energy sources like solar. The country's power production mix as of 2021 consisted of approximately 68% thermal, 29% hydroelectric, and less than 3% renewables. However, Ghana has currently lost 10% of its total electricity generation capacity. And not only is the supply of clean energy insufficient in Ghana, access is also uneven. This reality, coupled with inefficiencies in electricity distribution and high demand, is causing a major shortfall in power supply. That has led to frequent prolonged power cuts Ghanaians have endured since last year. To overcome this, Ghanaian authorities are actively seeking alternative energy sources to ensure energy security and broaden electricity access for the population. Consequently, the country has turned to an interesting alternative source, nuclear power, with superpowers Russia and the USA locking horns to win the bid to build Ghana's first ever nuclear energy plant. Before we dive into our topic today, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channels and ringing the bell to be notified about all our exciting future videos. According to multiple reliable reports, the US and Russia are competing with China, France, and South Korea to build Ghana's first nuclear power plant, after the West African giant has emerged as one of several on the continent looking to nuclear power as a low-carbon source of energy as they attempt to increase access to electricity. Ghana is moving to nuclear power to supplement its current mix of hydro, thermal, and renewable energy. The country must now select between competing options, which analysts say range from large-scale nuclear power projects to small modular reactors. People familiar with the ongoing process believe the US has an advantage due to the two countries' close ties. However, another school of thought believes the Russians are favored because the Soviet Union built a research reactor in the 1960s under Ghana's first president, Kwame Nkrumah. Ghana's outgoing president, Nana Akufo-Addo, will announce the winner of the ongoing bidding process by the end of 2024, according to Stephen Yamal, executive director of Nuclear Power Ghana, which is overseeing the project. However, Mr. Yamal revealed that the nation's target of building the plant by 2030 would be missed because we still haven't settled on a vendor. Construction, which is expected to last at least 5 years, will commence in 2026. Nuclear power has a very limited footprint in Africa's energy landscape. While there were early ambitions, many African countries have prioritized readily available resources like coal, natural gas, and hydropower for electricity generation. This is reflected in the fact that South Africa remains the only nation on the continent with a functioning nuclear power plant, built back in the 1980s. However, recognizing the need for a more diversified and secure energy mix, some countries are revisiting nuclear power. Egypt is leading the charge in this regard, with a nuclear power plant currently under construction. Also, Uganda, Rwanda, and Kenya have in the last year announced plans to explore this energy source. All of the nuclear ambitions of these nations will likely be made a reality with the help of Russia. Indeed, Moscow is really pushing hard to become a major player in Africa's nuclear future. Facing economic isolation due to sanctions following the invasion of Ukraine, Russia's state-owned nuclear company, Rosatom, has been actively signing agreements to develop nuclear technology in African countries. Burkina Faso, Egypt, and South Africa are among those that have partnered with Rosatom. This March, Russia announced similar agreements with Mali and Algeria, highlighting its ambition
to not only become a key player in Africa's nuclear future, but also help end the general energy crisis plaguing various parts of the continent.
Okay.
I'm in my.
Any comments on that? They got any comments on that? Okay, we're gonna open it up for some questions, comments, and dialogue. Anybody got anything they want to talk about? Something you heard this morning or Friday night, during the week? Something you want to talk about? Questions? Okay, so if nobody have no questions, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read out of. We're gonna go ahead and go to our topic for discussion, and it's like I said, I'm going to second Ezra. Before I go to second Ezra, I wanted to I felt the need to clear this up, so I'm going to clear it up when it says, if you go to Ezekiel 37, I want to clear this up right quick today. You go to Ezekiel 37, and it says that 37, and I think it's verse 23. Okay. It says we're going to pick it up in this the restoration of the United Israel. So when they say United Israel, they're talking about Joseph. I mean, the 10 tribes of Israel. Ephraim was separated between the time of Solomon from Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the southern kingdom. It was separated. So in the last days, when he brings us back, he's going to reunite all the 12 tribes, the United Israel that was under David and Solomon. So we're going to pick it up in Ezekiel 37. After he raised up the dry bones, we're going to read and start in verse 15. The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick, write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel, his companions. Join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one stick in thy hand. And when the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, even the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall become one in my hand. So when he says the stick of Joseph, that's Ephraim, right? And the tribes of Israel, his fellows, that's the 10 tribes, the other tribes, other 10 tribes, other 9 tribes, Ephraim, tribe of Ephraim, Manasseh, and the other 8 tribes is what he's talking about. He's going to put them back together with Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. So verse 20 says, and the stick wherein thou shalt, and the sticks, both of them, whereon thou writest, shall be in thine hand before their eyes, and say unto them, thus saith the Lord God, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and I will gather them on every side, bring them into their own land. And then it says, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king over them, and there shall no more be 2 nations, neither shall they be divided into 2 kingdoms anymore at all. Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them. So this is my point I'm getting to right here, verse 23. But I will save them out of their dwelling places wherein they are seen, and I will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God. Right? So when he says, neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, that's including JC, nor with their detestable things, is what we're doing now. all this stuff we got going on over here, the New Testament and all that, nor with the detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions, but I will save them out of all of the dwelling places wherein they are sin, and I will cleanse them. So when you read that, you know, my objective is today is to show you what he means when he say cleanse them. We're gonna see what he done when they was in Babylon and they came out of Babylon. He had to cleanse them. If he cleansing us, he's gonna cleanse us when he regather us now. He had to cleanse us when he brought us out of Babylon. He had to cleanse us when he brought us out of Egypt. So let's look at what he means when he says he's gonna cleanse us, right? So I'm at first. That takes me to First Ezra. I'm gonna start in verse chapter 5, but I'm gonna read all the way 6 in order to get the proper understanding. So I'm in First Ezra. I'm gonna get it. First Ezra. Let's start at I'm gonna read okay. But this is when you understand the story that when in Daniel 9:25, when he told us Daniel had a vision that the temple was going to be rebuilt, and the Messiah and the temple was going to be rebuilt, commandment was going to come forth for them to believe. He's talking about day in Babylon. He's not talking about nothing in the future. So the Messiah that he talked about in Daniel 9:25 is the Zerubbabel. So that means that they're going to go back to Jerusalem. They're going to leave Babylon and go back to Jerusalem, and they're going to have to rebuild the temple. But in order to rebuild the temple, they got to cleanse the land, they got to cleanse the temple mount, and then they got to cleanse themselves. So that's what he means when he says in Daniel 9:25, Daniel, not Daniel, but Ezekiel 37, verse 23, he's going to save us from, regather us, and then he's going to cleanse us. We can't come running up in his face and trying to deal with him or none of the things that belong to him unless we've been cleansed. So here we go. This is the process right here. So it says, when the 7th month came, and the Israelites were all in their own homes, so they're not in Babylon no more. They gathered with a single purpose in the square before the first gate, toward the east. Then Joshua, the son of Jozak, with his fellow priests. See this? With his fellow priests. If you want to know who the suffering servant is, you're going to see it. Then Joshua, the son of Jozak, with his fellow priests, and Zerubbabel, the Messiah that's in Daniel 9:25, son of Sephet, with his kinsmen, took their places. So that took their places, right, and prepared the altar of the God of Israel. So let's look at what they. Let's go back to something else. I could teach the reading this, but I don't think it's you getting a visual on what's going on. So everybody want to know who the suffering servant is after they hoodwinked us with JC and told us that was him in Daniel in Isaiah 53. Everybody thinks that's JC. And when you tell them it's not, they start looking crazy. So let's look at it. We're dealing with Israel being cleansed, the nation and the land when we go back, right? So let's see what I said. Lost my train of thought. Okay, so let me get back over here. I'll come back to it. So it says in First Ezra chapter 5 and verse he's writing small. Okay, it says, yeah, I'm sure I know where I was going. I'm bad. I was going to Isaiah 52. I go here all the time. Isaiah 52. Okay. It says, right, this how we're gonna find out who the suffering servant is. And this when the world gonna be in shock. But nobody really in tune with this. So I'm in Isaiah 52, verses 13, 14, and 13, 14, and 15. So this is the Lord of hosts talking. And like I said, it's a quest to find out who the suffering servant is. So it says, and before you get to Isaiah 53, it says, the last 3 verses in 52, behold, my servant, the Lord said, my servant shall deal prudently. He shall be extolled and be exalted and be very high. And as many as astonished at his vestige, that means his garments. Or these Levites, they have garments, special garments they have to wear, according to what they're doing. So many shall be astonished that he was so marred, so his vestige was so marred than any man, and his form more than any man. So because of the tribulation that we've been going through, we don't have no garments, and if we do, they look like shit. Just like in Zechariah chapter 3, when the angel stood before Joshua. They've been in captivity for 70 years, so he don't look right. So anyway, he says, as many were astonished at thee, his vestige, his clothes, was so marred, more than any man, and his form more than any man, so his appearance, right? So 15, so shall he sprinkle, it's the suffering servant, so shall he sprinkle many nations, and the kings shall shut their mouths at him for that which they had not heard, shall they see. This is how the suffering servant going to be identified when they do this right here. For that which they had not seen, or they had not been told, shall they see, and that which they had not heard, shall they consider. So let's look at it. So we go to Leviticus, Numbers, I think it is, right quick, to 18. Then we get back where we was at in First Ezra. Go to Numbers right quick. I'm going to shine a light on this. Okay, I'm in chapter 18 of Numbers. It said this is the provision for the priests and the Levites. Remember what I just read. And the Lord said unto Aaron, Aaron is over the priest, over the especially the high priest. The high priest had to come out of Aaron's name forever. Thou and thy sons and thy father's house with thee shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary. So you're looking for the suffering servant. There it is right here. These Levites, these prophets, all of them, they the ones bear the iniquity in Israel when Israel goes astray. It's their job to keep Israel on the straight and narrow. So he says, that father's house with thee shall bear the iniquity of the sanctuary. That's the temple. And the Lord of hosts in the temple. It's his temple. And thou and thy sons with thee shall bear the iniquity of the priesthood. So the high priest, Aaron, got to bear the iniquity, whether they're doing right or whether they're doing wrong. They got to bear the iniquity, and the Levites is attached to them. So 2, Numbers 18 and 2. And thy son and thy brethren also of the tribe of Levi, the tribe of thy father, bring thou with thee, that they may be joined unto thee and minister unto thee. But thou and thy sons with thee shall minister before the tabernacle of witness. And they shall keep thy charge, and the charge of all the tabernacle, only they shall not come nigh the vessels of the sanctuary and the altar, that neither they nor ye are also shall die. So we see right here, these Levites, all the priesthood, David, the kings, and these Levites was responsible for the nation doing right or doing wrong. And if they go astray, this will get punished along with everybody else, but this will take the brunt of the punishment. Okay? So now, let's go back to they're coming out of Israel. Well, let's read this before we go there, because I want you to get the understanding on this. So they in Babylon, and Cyrus came. We in the book of Ezra, right? Let's look at it. So we in the book of Ezra. This is also tied to Daniel 9:25. This is the commandment in Daniel 9:25. It says, now in the first year of Cyrus, the king of Persia, that the word of the Lord by the mouth of Jeremiah might be fulfilled, the Lord stirred up the spirit of Cyrus, king of Persia, that he made a proclamation throughout all his kingdom put it also in writing, saying, Thus says Cyrus, the king of Persia, the Lord God, the Lord of hosts of heaven, have given me all the kingdoms of the earth, and he have charged me to build him a house in Jerusalem, which is in Judea. So right here, you should be looking for the Levites and the priests right here, because he says, build him a house, charge him to build him a house in Jerusalem. What house? The temple. So who in charge? We just read who in charge of the temple. He just said all the things that inside the temple is in charge by the Levites and the priests and Aaron. So if you want me to build him a house, then who's servicing the house? So you keep reading. Who is there among you of all his people? His God be with him to go up to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build a house of the Lord. So thinking like a Hebrew, that's already telling you Levites included in this. They got a major role in it. This is who had to build it. So he says, the house of the Lord, of Israel, he is the God which is in Jerusalem. Then we get down to verse 5. Then rose up the chief fathers of Benjamin, and the priests, and the Levites, and all them whose spirit God had raised to go up to build the house of the Lord. So who building the house of the Lord, the temple? The priests and the Levites, with all whose spirit God had raised. So it's like 1, 2, and 3. If you want the temple built, so who in charge of it? Priests and the Levites. Who the priests and Levites? The Most High servant. If they don't do right, they become the suffering servant. So now let's go back and look at it. Let's go back and read out of First Ezra now, because there's a process to it. So let's look at it. So he brought them back. They came back to Jerusalem with the Messiah, which is Zerubbabel. He brought them back along with Joshua, the high priest, out of Aaron's lineage. And we're going to pick it up. The worship is getting ready to be restored, right? And the worship got to start before the temple be built. So I'm in First Ezra, chapter 5, verse 47. When the 7th month came, and the Israelites were all in their homes, they gathered with a single purpose in a square before the first gate toward the east. Then Joshua, son of Zodek, with his fellow priests, take you to Numbers 18, son of Joseph, and his fellow priest, and Zerubbabel, son of Sethel, with his kinsmen, took their places. So they got a place they got to be. That take you right to Isaiah 52, 13, 14, and 15. This is how we're going to find out who the suffering servant is. So he says, took their place and prepared the altar of God. Can't no Chinese or no Edomite or no Israeli do this. Priests and Levites, right? JC can't even do it. So it says let me go keep going. Took their places and prepared the altar of God of Israel to offer burnt offerings upon it in accordance with the directions in the book of Moses, the man of God. And some joined them from the other people of the land, and they erected the altar in its place. For all the people of the land were hostile to them and were stronger than they. So same thing happening now. All we trying to do is, Spirit of the Most High that came on us, all we trying to do is get back to where we belong. Like I say, we see right here, we got a place we're supposed to be at. It's an order to everything, but everybody hostile to it. They don't want us to get back to our place. So it says, hostile to us, says, and they offer sacrifices at the proper time, and the burnt offerings to the Lord morning and evening. They kept the festival of booths, as it is commanded in the law, and offered the proper sacrifices every day, and thereafter the regular offerings and the sacrifices on the Sabbath, and at the new moons, and all the consecrated feasts, and all who had made any vow to God began to offer sacrifices to God. From the new moon of the 7th month, though the temple of God was not yet built, they gave money to the masons and to the carpenters, and food and drink and carts to the Sidonians and the Tyrians to bring cedar logs from Lebanon and convey them in rafts into the harbor of Joppa, according to the decree that they had in the writings from King Cyrus of the Persians. So all they about is they're all about the Most High business, Lord host business. And the thing about it is, it's in their DNA. They're gonna not be if they weak Levites, true Levites, true Hebrews, they're gonna be where they're supposed to be at. Because the Most High, he said he raised their spirit. So something wrong if you ain't raised your spirit, you better start looking around, looking under the pillow or something, because something wrong. So anyway, so in the second year after that, come into the temple of God in Jerusalem. So like a magnet, these priests and Levites, son of David, and all of them drawn to the temple. See that? So in the second year after that, coming into the temple of God in Jerusalem, in the second month, Zerubbabel, son of Sethel, and Joshua, so made the beginnings, together with their kinsmen and the Levitical priests, suffering servant, and all who had came back to Jerusalem from exile. Where they at? They in Babylon. And they laid the foundation of the temple of God on the new moon of the second month in the second year after they came to Judah and Jerusalem. They appointed the Levites. See that? They appointed the Levites, not Israelis, not apostles or evangelicals, but he said they appointed the Levites who were 20 or more years old of age to have charge of the work of the Lord. And Joshua arose and his sons. See that? Joshua and his sons, and this out of Aaron lineage, and Kendrick, and his brother Kimmel, and his son of Joshua, Emanabun, whatever, and the sons of Jodah, son of Ichabod, with their sons and kindred, all the Levites, pressing forward like a magnet, the work of the house of God, which is with a single purpose. Can't nobody else do that. And so, like I said before, these lineages, the pedigree is here. It's on the earth. You're gonna know where they are because they're gonna do the same thing right here. You ain't gotta have to wonder or ask nobody. So let's look at it. So the builders built the temple of the Lord, and the priests stood arrayed. Here you go. This is what we just read. How we gonna find out? He said they were so marred. They vested their garments. They were so marred. Right? It says, so the builders built the temple of the Lord, and the priests stood arrayed in their vestments with musical instruments and trumpets, and the Levites, the sons of Asaph, with cymbals, praising the Lord and blessing him according to the direction of King David of Israel. So let's look at this. So they've been to Babylon for 70 years. They ain't had no problem right here with knowing who Asaph descendants was. They had no problem with understanding who it was. Who you think told them? Who you think guided them to what's going on? Same way you right today. When time comes, ain't gonna be no problem. Well, they're gonna be identified. So it says, they sang hymns, giving thanks to the Lord for his goodness and for his glory are forever upon all Israel. For his goodness and his glory are forever upon all Israel. And all the people sounded trumpets and shouted with a great shout, praising the Lord for the erection of the house of the God. Some of the Levitical priests and the heads of ancestral houses, old men who had seen the former house, came to the building. Let me see. So these words are small. This one with the Levitical priesthood, the priests and the heads of the ancestral houses, old men who had seen the former house, came to the building of this one with outcries and a loud weeping, while many came with trumpets and with joyful noise, so that the people could not hear the trumpets because of the weeping of the people. For the multitude sounded the trumpets loudly, so that the sound was heard far away. And when the enemies of the tribe of Judah and Benjamin heard it, they came to find out what the sound of the trumpets meant. They learned that those who had returned from exile were building the temple of the Lord God of Israel. So they approached Zerubbabel and Joshua and the heads of the ancestral houses, and they said unto them, we will build with you, for we obeyed your Lord just as you do, and we have been sacrificing to him ever since the days of King Ashkelon of the Assyrians, who brought us here. But Zerubbabel and Joshua, check it out, Zerubbabel and Joshua and the heads of the ancestral houses in Israel said to them, you have nothing to do with us in the building of the house for our Lord our God, for we alone will build it for the Lord of Israel, as Cyrus, the king of Persia, has commanded us. But the people of the land pressed hard upon those in Judah, cut off their supplies. See, they turned on them after they wouldn't let them help them. Cut off their supplies of their building, and by plots and debauchery and uprisings, they prevented the completion of the building. As long as King Cyrus lived, they were kept from building for 2 years until the reign of Darius. So they take us back to Daniel. The Messiah was cut off. We already know the Messiah is. Now we see Zerubbabel got cut off. Him and Joshua got cut off for 2 years because they was hating on them. They was building the temple back. So you say, what you talking about? Ain't these same people? They descendants trying to build the temple now. But they don't want us to be no part of it whatsoever. Let that ferment. Now they're on the other side of the fence. They going through a whole process. So this ain't just something that just came up out the blue. It's been in process. Way back here, they wanted to help to build it then. They weren't allowed to. We was still in power. But now we've been denigrated. And then tricked it off. Now in full circle, now they in charge. They want to build a temple. See that? So, well, let's look at it. I want to read it because I read these verses a lot, and I don't think the dots being connected. So we see right there, right? They wanted to build a temple, and he said that when this king of Assyria brought us here, they ain't Israelites. The Samaritans ain't Israelites. So they say when the Syrian king brought us here, we learned about your God. We know the story of he had to go get some Levites and show them how to live in the land and how to deal with the Lord of hosts. So now they're saying that we want to help you build because we've been sacrificed to your God. Some of your brethren showed us how to do it. So let's look at the scripture and connect some dots. So we go to Isaiah 66. It says right here, I'll read the first 5 verses. Thus says the Lord, the heavens is my home, is my throne. The earth is my footstool. This Israel God. Where is the house, right, that you built under me? And where is the place of my rest? Talk to the Israelites. That's the only person he can talk to. That's who his people is. For all those things have my hands made, and all those things have been, said the Lord. But to this man will I look, even him that is of a poor and contrite spirit, and tremble at my word. He that kills an ox is as if he slew a man. He that sacrifices a lamb as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offers an oblation as if he offered swine's blood. He that burneth incense as if he blessed and idle. Yea, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delighted in their abomination. So the Israelites love the abominations that they're in. They love what they're doing. So that's why he cast them off. So pick it up in verse 4. I also, cause you rolling like you is, I also will choose their delusions, and I will bring their fears upon them. We're gonna end up over in our enemies' lands. Because when I called, none did answer. When I spoke, they did not hear. But they did evil before my eyes and chose that in which I delighted not. Now here we go. Take us right back where we at. They want to help them build a temple, right? Hear the words of the Lord, ye that tremble at your word. Your brethren, who we dealing with right here in First Ezra, your brethren that hated you, see that? That cast you out. It's in Obadiah. For my name's sake. See that? Because they want to deal with our God. See that? Right here in verse 5. Let the Lord be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. So right here, where we at right now, the Lord coming back, like I said, and we see in Isaiah 52, the Levites gonna show up. And when that happens, they're gonna be ashamed. After all they've done, they're gonna be ashamed. Well, we're gonna rejoice. But they're gonna be ashamed. They 2,500 years they didn't pose as the Israelites, but when the Lord hosts come back, he coming back to his servants, to his people. And when that happens, the whole world gonna know who we are. And they're gonna be ashamed. So anyway, let's pick it up. Chapter 6. Now we'll close out from there. So it says, so they cut the temple off for 2 years. Now we're picking it back up. Now in the second year of the reign of Darius, the prophet, check it out, the prophet Haggai and Zechariah. So they came back from Babylon. They was in Babylon. Got to get that in your head. The prophet Haggai and Zechariah, son of Edu, prophesied to the Jews who were in Judah and Jerusalem. They prophesied to them in the name of the Lord, God of Israel. Then Zerubbabel, see that? So Haggai and Zerubbabel and Zechariah alive at the same time. Don't get it twisted. Then Zerubbabel, son of Sethel, and Joshua, son of Josedek, began to build the house of the Lord that is in Jerusalem with the help of the prophets of the Lord who were with them. They're always right there. Ain't that something? Okay. 3. At the same time, I can't pronounce his name, Sheshan, the governor of Syria and Phoenicia, and Saracen, what I can't pronounce his name, and their associates came to them and said, by whose orders are you building the house and this roof and finishing of all the other things? And who are the builders that are finishing these things? Yet the elders of the Jews were dealt with kindly, for the providence of the Lord, providence of the Lord was over the captives. They were not prevented from building until the word could be sent to Darius concerning them and the report made. A copy of the letter that Sinas, the governor of Syria and Phoenicia, and Sambath and their associates, the local rulers in Syria and Phoenicia, wrote and sent to Darius, to the king Darius, greetings, let it be fully known to our Lord, the king, that when we went to the country of Judah and entered the city of Jerusalem, we found the elders of the Jews who had been in exile building the city of Jerusalem, a great new house for the Lord, of huge stone, with costly timber laid in the walls. So let's go back and look at this. So it says, they wrote a letter to Darius, right? These nut buckets, they ain't no Israelites. It says, we found the elders of the Jews who had been in exile. They've been in Babylon. That's including Ezra, Haggai, and Zechariah, who have been in exile, building the city of Jerusalem, a great new house. Now here, check it out, for the Lord. So they got to know the Lord. Or to make that statement, they got to know the Lord. See that? It's just like, somebody at the door. They want you, man. That means I know you. I know who that is at the door. I know you. And I'm telling you, they're at the door. They want to talk to you. Same right here. They know the Lord. See that? Remember what the priest did? Well, they had to bring priests that showed them how to deal with the Lord of hosts. So anyway, let's keep going. It says, okay, it says, yet the elders of the Jews were dealt with kindly, for the providence of the Lord was over their captives. They were not prevented from building until the word could be sent to Darius concerning this, and a report made. The copy of the letter by Sinus, the governor of Syria and Phoenicia, and Shaban and their associates, the local rulers in Syria and Phoenicia, wrote and sent to Darius, to King Darius, greetings. Let it be fully known to our Lord, the King, that when we went to the country of the Judeans, country of Judah, and entered into the city of Jerusalem. Hold on 1 minute. Okay, it says, okay, get it. Excuse me 1 minute. It says, and we went to the country of Judah and entered into the city of Jerusalem, and we found elders and Jews who had been in exile, building the city of Jerusalem in a great new house for their Lord. So they know him, of huge stone, the costly timber, laid it in the walls. These operations are going on rapidly, and the work is prospering in their hands and being completed with a splendor and care. Then we ask their elders, at whose command are you building this house and laying the foundation of this structure, in order that we might inform you in writing who the leaders are. We questioned them and asked them for a list of the names of those who are at their heads. And they answered us, we are the servants of the Lord. Here you go. We are the servants, suffering servants. Come on. We are the servants of the Lord who created the heavens and the earth. The house was built many years ago by the king of Israel, who was great and strong, and it was finished. But when our ancestors sinned against the Lord of Israel, who was in heaven, and provoked him, he gave them over into the hands of King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon, king of the Chaldeans, and they pulled down the house, burned it, and carried the people away captive to Babylon. But in the first year of Cyrus' reign over the country of Babylon, King Cyrus wrote that this house should be rebuilt, and that the holy vessels of God and of the silver which Nebuchadnezzar had taken out of the house of Jerusalem and stored it in his own temple, these King Cyrus took out again from the temple in Babylon, and they were delivered to Zerubbabel and Zerubbabel and Sheshbazzar, the governor, with the command that he should take all these vessels back. Should take all these vessels back and put them in the temple of Jerusalem, and that this temple of the Lord should be rebuilt on its site. Then this Sheshbazzar, also coming here, laid the foundation of the house of the Lord that is in Jerusalem. So we know Zerubbabel and Sheshbazzar are one and the same person. Zerubbabel is his Israelite name. Sheshbazzar is his captive name. Okay, although it has been in process of construction from that time until now, it has not yet reached completion. Now, therefore, O King, if it seem wise to do so, let a search be made in the royal archives of our Lord, the King, that are in Babylon, if it be found that the building of the house of the Lord in Jerusalem was done with the consent of King Cyrus, and if it is approved by our Lord the King, let him send us directions concerning these things. So there they go again. They're talking like they know the Lord firsthand. They, if it is found that the building of this house of the Lord, so they know him. Okay. Unlike these Negroes today. 23. Then Darius commanded that a search be made in the royal archives that were deposited in Babylon and in Ecbatana, the fortress that is in the country of Media, and scrolls were found in which this was recorded in the first year of the reign of King Cyrus. He ordered the building of the house of the Lord in Jerusalem, where they sacrificed with a perpetual fire. Its height to 60 cubits, and its width 60 cubits, and with 3 courses of hewn stone and 1 course of new native timber, the cost to be paid from the treasury of the King Cyrus, and that the holy vessels of the house of the Lord, both of gold and of silver, which Nebuchadnezzar took out of the house of his in Jerusalem and carried away to Babylon, should be restored to the house of Jerusalem to be placed where they had been. So Darius commanded Cenas, governor of Syria and Phoenicia, and Sephardim and their associates, and those who are appointed as local rulers in Syria and Phoenicia, to keep away from the place, and to permit Zerubbabel, the servant of the Lord and governor of Judah, and the elders of the Jews, to build his house of the Lord on his site. And I commanded that it be built completely, and that the full effort be made to help those who have returned from the exile in Judah until the house of the Lord is finished, and that out of the tribute of Syria and Phoenicia, a portion be scripturiously given to these men, that is, to Zerubbabel the governor, for sacrifices to the Lord, for bulls and for rams and for goats, and likewise wheat, salt, wine, oil, regularly every year without quabbling, for daily use, as the priest in Jerusalem may indicate, in order that the libations may be made to the Most High God for the king and for his children, and prayers to be offered for their lives. So let's look at this right quick. So check it out. Remember who the Messiah is, right? Every time the Messiah get to talking, he always brings David up. But that ain't registered with the average person. So he says the building of the temple been stopped for 2 years. Cyrus go and check the archives, the royal archives, find out that Cyrus had indeed made the proclamation of Daniel 9:25 that Zerubbabel and Joshua go back and rebuild the temple, right? So as he found it out, he comes back and look what he says. This ought to ring a bell, or a trumpet ought to go off in your ear. So it says, he commanded that, if anyone should transgress, let me go back up to, and I commanded that it be built completely, and that full effort be made to help those who are returned from exile of Judah until the house of the Lord is finished, and that out of the tribute of Coalition and Phoenicia, a portion be scripturiously given to these men, that is, to Zerubbabel. See that? Beyond the shadow of a doubt. You ain't got to fumble with it. It ain't Yahushua or Jesus. Zerubbabel, the governor, for sacrifices to the Lord, for bulls, rams, lambs, and likewise wheat, salt, and wine, oil, regularly every year, without quabbling, for the daily use, as the priest, the suffering servant in Isaiah 53, in Jerusalem, may indicate, in order that libations be made to the Most High God for the king of David, right? David's lineage. King out of David's lineage. For the king and his children, and prayers be offered for their lives. Look at that. Let that firm made. In 32, he commanded that if anyone should transgress or nullify any of these herein written, see that? So he done wrote David in the conversation. David dead and gone. But he says in verse 32, he commanded that if anyone should transgress or nullify any of these things herein written, David in it, and a beam should be taken out of his house of the perpetrator, who then shall be impaled upon it, and all property forfeited to the king. Therefore, may the Lord, whose name is there called upon, destroy every king and nation that should stretch out their hands to hinder or damage that house of the Lord in Jerusalem. I, King Darius, have decreed that it be done with all diligence as here proscribed. Come on. And that's something? So this tucked off and ducked off way over here in the pocket. And so if you jumping up, you trying to defend the New Testament and defend JC, you got homework to do. Come on. Is there something? Anybody got any questions or comments?
Brother Leonard, you have a question in the chat, and then I have a comment after that.
Okay, let me see. We got questions. I have for Brother Leonard. What angel did Jacob wrestle with, and the name was changed to Israel? He wrestled with Michael, the Lord of hosts, the Redeemer, the God over Israel. He wrestled with him and changed his name. So if you don't understand it, it's El. The reason why all these angels got El on the end of their name, because they're strong ones. That's what El. Whoever's over Israel is a strong one. He ain't he's not the creator. It's an El over Israel, just like it's an El over all the rest of the nations. In Genesis chapter 10, in chapter 11, when he divided up the earth, he divided up with these 70 angels. Michael El got Jerusalem. He went from Jerusalem, from Mount Horeb, and went to Egypt and brought the 10 plagues to the Egyptians and brought the Israelites back to Jerusalem. That's when he inherited Israel. So we wrestled with Jacob, changed him to El. Israel. That's why he changed his name. So let's read the story right quick. I think it's in 26.
Genesis chapter 32.
Yeah, 32, my bad.
Yes,
32.
sir.
So it says 24. Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man. We know it's an angel. He wrestled with an angel with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, against his angel, he touched the hollow. The angel saw that he could prevail over Jacob. He touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, let me go, for the day breaketh. And he said, I will not let thee go, except thou bless me. So he wants his angel to bless him. 27. And he said unto him, what is thy name? And he said, Jacob. Then the angel said, thy name shall no more be called Jacob, but Israel. Strong one, right? For as a prince, because that's what he is, has thou power with God and with men, and has prevailed. So now he'll El. So how we know it's Michael? We go to Daniel, right? Go to Daniel. Let the scriptures talk. Chapter 10. Okay. Gabriel is being informed about a dream he had, right? We're going to pick it up in verse 19. Gabriel talking to Daniel, right? Says, 19 says, and said, O man, greatly beloved, fear not, peace be unto thee, be strong, yea, be strong. And when he had spoken unto me, I was strengthened. And he said, let my Lord speak, for thou hast strengthened me. So he asked him, telling Gabriel to, break it down, explain it to me. Gabriel started talking in 20. Then said he, Gabriel, know of thou wherefore I came unto thee. Now I'll return to fight with the prince of Persia. That's the angel over Persia that was given to him way back in Genesis 11. When Michael received Zion, he received Persia, the prince of Persia. And when I am gone forth, lo, the prince of Greece, that's the angel, the El that's over Greece, way back in Genesis 11. Now here go 21. But Gabriel talking to Daniel, but I will show thee that which is noted in the scriptures of truth. That's the book that's in heaven that they looking on. And there is none that holdeth with me. It's Gabriel talking to Daniel in these things, but Michael El, your prince. So he the one over Israel. This the strong one that's over Israel. You got a strong one over Persia. You got a strong one over Greece. Michael El. Gabriel just told us. I don't need the apostles to tell me that. Paul, Gabriel telling me right here. But I will show thee that which is noted in the scriptures of truth, and there is none that holdeth with me in these things, but Michael El, your prince, your God that's over you. Okay. We'll deal with one more verse. We got a little time. I'll go to Exodus chapter 23. We're going to let the Yahweh himself talk. Okay. Exodus 23 says they had Mount Sinai, right? And they have to go to the land and conquer the land, right? So it says, Lord of hosts talking Moses up on Mount Sinai, talking to Yahweh, not the Lord of hosts. And we're in verse 20. And he tells Moses, behold, I send an angel, an El, before thee to keep thee in the way, to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, obey his voice, provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgression, for my name is in him. So what's transgressions? Sin. This angel right here is overseen. El, not Yahweh. Sin been given to him. He's the one that's dealing with, that's judging Israel and Israel's sins. 22. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice, do all that I speak, then I will be an enemy unto thy enemies and an adversary to thine adversaries. For mine angel shall be before thee and bring thee into the Amorites, the Hittites, the Perizzites, the Canaanites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. It's an angel over Israel. Whoever inherited Israel, it can't be Yahweh. He can't give Israel to himself. He had to give Israel to somebody. Right here, Michael El. I hope that makes some sense. Okay. Anybody else got anything?
Shalom, yes, sir. I just have a little comment and to make on this when you were reading
Okay.
First Ezra chapter 5 and 6, right? And as you were reading that, and you have read that before, they stick JC in there, right?
Exactly.
So now he is part of the high priest lineage also, and the Messiah. Like that it just yes.
Right. Yeah. It's a farce. Like I said, he's God. He's the Messiah.
Right.
He's the Redeemer. He all over the place. As I said, once you understand the scriptures, you have no other choice if you're thinking like a Hebrew, but to do something with him. It's the imagination of these Gentiles' mind when they concocted him at the Council of Nicaea.
Yes, sir.
It's the last hurdle. He's the last hurdle we got to get over.
Yes, sir. I was that just I don't know, stuck in my mind as you were reading it, and I was like, okay, so they saying he's the Messiah. Now he's, the high priest. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So when you go to Book of Hebrews, he's the high priest, but when you go to
Right.
Matthew, he's the Messiah.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Right.
Yes,
Exactly.
sir.
And like I said before, with the, if you don't understand that, then it's holy ones. You keep telling you, I'm the holy one of Israel. Yahweh ain't the holy one. The book of Enoch tell us Most High created 7 holy ones. He created 7 holy angels. That's who's in Genesis 1:26. Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, Peniel, Jeremiel, Seraquel, strong ones. It's a strong one over Israel, not Yahweh. Okay. Ain't that something? So actually, I mean, if you say you searching for the truth, well, it's a holy one over Israel. It's 7 of them. Close your eyes and take a pick.
Mm.
You come out better. You come out better than dealing with the damn New Testament. Okay. Ain't that something?
Yes, sir. That's the truth. All praises.
Okay. So, anybody else got anything? Okay. Let me hit this right quick. So you're gonna post that. We find out what we're gonna do on Sunday, right?
Yes, sir. I can. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Shalom.
Thank you.
Okay. Shalom.
Shalom, everyone.